development. Today we're presenting the Syracuse Emergency Pandemic Plan. This is pursuant to Governor Cuomo's legislation on September 7th, requiring all public employers to create plans to adequately protect workers in event of another state disaster emergency involving communicable disease. Michael.
Thank you, Counselor. So this is, you laid out exactly why we have this document in front of us. This is a draft document. Janet Burke and myself, along with assistance of Anna Wynn and Liam Kirst when he was still with the city, have put a tremendous amount of effort into this. Very specifically, all departments, including the clerk's office and the auditor's office, have submitted to us what it is that they believe they would need to operate and do what they're charged with doing in the event of a pandemic. And so this plan is representative of how would the work carry on, what employees are, specifically what positions are essential, which ones are non-essential, and how would the physical space be redone if needed to be, and how might we support people from working remotely from home if that was required. It is a draft, and it is currently being shared with the unions so that the unions have opportunity to provide input, and that would all be done in time for us to be able to come back to you if there were any changes by the study session.
So let me ask you something. I got the draft yesterday. Do the other counselors have this too? I believe
it went out. Yeah, clerk, did this come to your office this morning, I think?
Yes, I received it this morning, and I did email it out to the entire council.
Oh, you did? Okay, all right, great. Okay, excellent. So my question is this time sensitive? Because I see in the letter that this should be done by the April 1st. So what happens
Correct.
if it's not ready then?
So we haven't seen anything regarding consequences. So I can absolutely look into that. This is the way that this is presented to us by the legislation is that this in effect becomes something similar to a human resources policy. And my reference for that is that when it has been approved, then the Human Resources Department would post it in the same way that they would any other policy. So that's the effect of it. But as far as what would happen if it wasn't ready by April 1st, I will look into that and get back to you.
Okay, I mean, given that we are doing this under the guidelines of the Emergency Preparedness Solutions model, right? So are we? So we're twiggling that model to fit the city, right?
Correct.
So I mean, what % of the document is ours, and I mean, how much do we have to change?
So
we don't have a lot of time, and we don't have the document. I'm just trying to figure out if you can give it to us in time.
Yeah, no, excellent questions, Counselor. So at this point, I suspect that the draft that you have in front of you is going to be 98% similar to what we would pass. Once we receive comment back from the unions, that needs to be according to the language of the New York State law, that needs to be considered, and that's as broad as I go with it.
Okay. All right. I mean, I went over it. I skimmed it as best as I could for today. There's only one place that stands out to me, and it's where it says that in the eligibility section, it says that those employees that are underperforming, it's something like that. There's a little bit more to it. They wouldn't be eligible to work from home or wherever that station may be ultimately. However, in case of something like just happened, that's not even, I mean, we can't question that. They all have to go home. So
that's we are really fortunate in the fact that although there could appear to be some irony in the fact that we're creating a plan for a pandemic at the end of a pandemic. The reality is we do have the policies and the actions that we have been able to refine over the previous 12 months that have fully informed this document. And so that language there is in relation specifically to our teleworking policy. And so we have found ways to be able to work within that, which recognize that if there is an employee that is underperforming, that does limit what options we might have for them. But of course, that would not mean that we would then require them to do something that would be against their health interests.
And of course, this document will be flexible to then address any other adjustments based on the issue at the moment, not necessarily what just happened, what hopefully never comes, but if it does, whatever that problem may be.
We specifically, within the framework that we were allowed by New York State, we specifically wrote the document in a way so that it is related to needs and positions as opposed to individual people, which therefore make sure that at a time when it's appropriate to update it, it's updating based on function as it's designed to be, regardless of who's there.
Okay. Do anybody else have a question? Councilor White is here, Councilor Allen. I don't see Councilor Majok, but do you guys have questions? No?
No, not at this time. I haven't really had enough time to, really digest the plan. So hopefully by the time we meet again and get these union comments, then I'll have something a little bit more meaningful to add.
Exactly. That's it. All right. So at this point, we just have a draft. So when is the deadline for the unions to get this back to you?
So Corey Driscoll has sent it to the unions, and she's the liaison. So I'll confirm with her. We suspect that we would be able to have everything back to you in time for study session for the March 29 meeting.
Okay.
In the meantime, I encourage any of the counselors that have questions or concerns to reach out directly to myself or Janet Burke, and we'd be more than happy to talk through things with you so that you feel comfortable with the document in front of you.
Okay, so I don't have any problem in moving this forward, provided we have a final before the next session, study session, so that we can then at that point, like Councilor White just said, would have something a little bit more something more to like digest and be able to comment on.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Are we in agreement? Yeah. Are you okay with that, Ronnie? Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then, thank you very much, everybody. And is there anything else?
Nothing else from me.
Okay. All right. So then, thank you, everybody, for coming. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.